Hi guys, so this is my foundation tutorial. This is the foundation that I do in the winter time, as I do have to change my foundation based on each time of year. But being it's so cold and dry, I need a little bit more moisture, and so this is what I would do for this time of year. So the first thing that I use is Chanel Pro Lumiere foundation. And I use probably about just 2 or 3 pumps. And I put that on the back of my hand. It kind of warms it up so it will go along your face better. And then this is just an Eco Tools foundation brush. I like it because the bristles are really easy to clean, and it is synthetic, and so there were no animals or anything used in this brush. So I'm just going to take this and start on my cheek here. And then just really blend it in. I like a really smooth finish, and so I will go back and forth trying to get it very smooth. And I kind of just do one half of my face and then I grab a little bit more and do the other half. Now, the Pro Lumiere foundation does have a bit more moisture than the other Chanel foundations, but being it's so dry here, I really need that, otherwise my makeup will just sit on my face. Now, the rule of thumb with foundation and where you kind of want to start is where you have the most imperfections, the places where you want to conceal the most. Mine happens to be around my cheeks, that I like to really make sure that I get a good coverage to, and so that's the first place that I start. I'm also bringing it down my neck so it blends in, and then across my nose. And really all you're doing at this point is just kind of slapping the foundation on. I like to go over my eyes to give it a nice base. Make sure you get around the nose. Like so. Alright, and then what I do is I take, this is just a MAC brush here. It's the 187 and it is the short handle one. But I go ahead and just buff around in small circles. Sometimes you'll find when people use just the foundation brush, they'll get streaks. And by buffing this in, I mean, it does take a little bit longer, but by buffing this in, it really helps to get rid of streaks and give you a really flawless kind of airbrushed effect because you're really buffing it into the skin. Alright, so that's just the foundation. Then the next thing I do is I go in with my concealer, and I use the MAC Studio Finish Concealer. This one's an NC20. And I like to just get it on my finger, kind of swirl around like so. And then I'm going to take it and kind of dab it where my dark circles are. You want to be very, very light with your fingers around your eye area, because if you're dragging, it's going to cause premature wrinkles, and who wants that? So I kind of make my concealer, after I dab it on, I start to drag this down a little bit very lightly, and I go in a triangle shape like this. So down the side of my nose, and then up to about the corner of my eye, a little bit past. And then I just like to blend it in with my finger in that shape. What that does is it kind of helps to flatten out any bags that you have under your eyes. It's just a little trick that will make people's eyes who are looking at you elongate that area, as opposed to just, you know, seeing the coverage that you put on. Alright, so after I blend that in, I take a brush. This is just an AVEDA blending brush. And just gently blend it in. Now, depending on what time of year it is, I will put a little bit around the corner of my nose because I tend to get a little red there. Buff that in. And then this is the time where if you have any blemishes, you would want to conceal. Alright. The last thing I do is I'm going to go back to that 187 brush. This is just a dual fiber brush. So it has the black little short ones, and it has the longer, they're normally white bristles, but this has my foundation on it. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to just pick up a little bit of product as opposed to really saturating your brush. So it gives you a nice light finish to it. The next thing I do is I take, this is AVEDA dual powder, and it's in 1 cream because I'm very, very pale. And I'm just going to run this brush along a few times. And I like to lightly first powder the center of my face, because even though it's dry out, my skin in general is dry, I definitely am more oily in my T-zone. So I first start by powdering that off. And then if I want my makeup to last all day and I don't have to touch it, what I'll do is just take the littlest bit of powder and just run it along my face. This helps to pick up any extra moisture and will keep your makeup from smearing around. Like so. And then, very, very lastly, I go back to that little blender concealer brush that I used. I swirl it in my powder foundation. And then what I'm going to do here is underneath my eyes, I'm going to powder below. I have a crease in my eye right here, and if I get powder in my eye there, it will crease all through the day, which super annoys me. So you kind of have to be careful while you're doing this, but I powder underneath that kind of line that I get. It's going to keep it from creasing and keep it from getting like, you know, that really producty look. So I concentrate most of the product there. And at the last minute, just brush and glide along to kind of smooth it all together. Alright, and that's my basic foundation tutorial.